I was a hugely disconnected, selfish, aggressive, neglectful mother.
Welcome to the breaking news. Ruby Frankie of 8 Passengers fame has finally done it. She's finally relented, and she has finally admitted her wrongdoings. She has been a neglectful mother. Apparently, she regrets it all, but not to worry. Things are looking up, and she is on this cult-like thing that she's got going on with Mums of Truth. So we're going to take a look at this video because it is classic. Is there more than meets the eye with regards to the admission of guilt, though? That is what I'm wondering.
I want to thank you. We are so grateful and touched.
Yeah.
You know, we go to the Facebook page and it's like, oh, look, we have this many more people that joined. We're so excited that you're with us. No. Your Facebook page is full of people who just want the goss. They've heard so much about how ridiculous it is, and they just want a nosy to see what's going on. They do not want your advice. Nobody needs your advice about anything, okay? And as for your little group, the paid for group, bloody hell. Now, everybody who knows me on this channel, we like to do a deep dive into things properly. I have no cares. I don't really care about anything, right? So I happen to pay to get on their little Facebook groupy thing, the paid for section, and yes, it is as bad as you can imagine. There's been two people who have posted on there. It is boring, it's slow, there's nothing going on. 2 people who have posted. One is me, and the other I happen to know is Callum Markey, who also paid to get on, obviously. And currently there's 6 members. 1 is me, 1 is Jody, 1 is Ruby, and there's 3 others. And that is it. There's literally nothing else going on. So they've made what, $80 maybe out of it. It's not bad. They haven't actually had to do much work, to be fair. But yeah, it's honestly, it's as bad as you can imagine. So yeah, in answer to your previous point, Jody, nobody wants to.
Good morning, Jessica. Thank you for your question. So
to join your stuff because
you're wanting to know
because they want advice from you. It's just not a thing, right?
And we have this image and this desire to have an army of mothers and fathers, men and women, teens alike, moving forward throughout this planet and learning how to live principles of truth.
You know what else is regarded as an army of people who you've cultivated to do a certain thing? That's right. The word is cultivated. Figure it out, Jody.
So that they actually have this beautiful outcome of connection. So we know that that's why you're here and you're coming and saying, help me understand principles of truth. Something that we have noticed, though, is that there's a lot of opinions being given and there's a lot of advice that's being given. And I've said to Ruby numerous times, and I thought on my own, like, wow, I don't think that that's what it is that we're doing here. We're not interested in giving our opinion. We're not giving opinions.
You're not giving opinions. Well, I've seen you give lots of opinions, Jody. Lots and lots of opinions, despite you actually saying numerous times on your Facebook group that you are not an opinion-based group. You can't give opinions. You don't give an opinion. Other people cannot give their opinion, but
when it goes against what your opinion is, you give your opinion on other people who are giving their opinions. It is very opinionated in there.
I have an example of a curious question that came in. So I had answered someone's question about this mother had a 17-year-old who didn't want to go to church any longer, and I made a video response. And in it, I had made a reference to The Walking Dead. Now, I've been in social media for many years, and I have been a mother in distortion more years than I've been a mother in truth. This is new. I've been studying this for 4 years, and so...
You know what comes to mind when you say that, Ruby? You sat there saying that you've been in training for 4 years. You used to be in distortion, but now you sat there with Jody, who's like the Grand Master. Like, you know, in Star Wars, you have the Grand Master, you have Obi-Wan, and you have the other ones. And yeah, the Jedi Master, the Jedi. You know what I mean. Those who watch Star Wars know what I mean. Anyway, that's what I'm getting from this. You're like the apprentice, and she is like the teacher, and you've been in training for 4 years, and this is the culmination of that 4-year period where you are now ready to take on your own responsibilities with it.
I've got video footage of me being in distortion for years before that.
You see how humble that is? That's humble. She's telling you, I was in distortion. I was harming my kids. I was being selfish.
Being super neglectful in the area that I wasn't bringing truth into my home. And she said, I'm being genuinely curious. You said you made mention of The Walking Dead not being appropriate, but yet I saw you had a video where your son liked The Walking Dead. And so I understood. I know. Ouch.
Good job, Mom, for pointing that out to her.
Yeah, and it felt very genuine. The curiosity was there. And so I responded. I said, thank you so much. You're actually helping me. You're shedding a light on this distorted, disconnected parenting that I used to go into. Seriously.
The Walking Dead made you realize that you were being distorted. It's nothing to do with all the other crap that you've done to your kids, but no, The Walking Dead was the tipping point for you. The tipping point. Jesus.
Me allowing my child to watch The Walking Dead was me being selfish because I didn't want to ruffle the distortion inside of my child, which meant I knew if I said no, he was going to get mad, and I just, I don't want to deal with the kids being mad. That's my selfishness.
You, Ruby, you didn't want to say no because you didn't want your kids to be upset. You didn't want your kids to be mad. So you didn't say no about watching The Walking Dead. But you had no problem saying no to your 6-year-old child who was starving at school and needed some food. You didn't mind saying no when it came to your boy having his bedroom taken away. Needed a bed to sleep in, but no, you said no. He needed to sleep on a beanbag. There's so many instances where you said no in the most hateful, horrible ways possible, and yet on this occasion you didn't want to say no to a TV show because it might upset the kids.
And I didn't get curious about what was in the show. I didn't ever sit down and watch it. Years later, my littles who were even littler at the time, they were just little. Oh, it breaks my heart. They're telling me all the things that they saw in this show. There was pornography, there was extreme violence, there was killing, there was murder.
Okay, I'm going to be straight with you, Ruby, but I'm not a massive fan of the show. I don't really watch it. However, I think the clue's in the name when it comes to, the type of things. There's murder, there's deaths and everything. The clue is in the title, The Walking Dead. How did you think they became dead? I'm just putting it out there. There is clues. Just got to look for them. Find the truth, Ruby.
And they have been bothered for years, and they've never felt comfortable to come tell me about it. Why? Because I was such a disconnected mother. So not only did it hurt the older son who was watching this show, it hurt the little ones, and I didn't know about it. It's been rotting in their system for years, and now it's finally coming to the surface.
Ruby, the reason why your kids didn't ever come to you was not because you were distorted or because you didn't live in truth or any of that crap. It was purely because you overreact at the minutest of things and give the harshest punishments in the world, and your kids obviously know that. So they're not going to come to you and say, look, Mum, I think this Walking Dead might not be for us because it's got so many violent things in it. No, they don't want to be punished. No kid wants to be punished. They're not going to willingly come to you and tell you this.
And so my job is to stay humble. My job is to see where my responsibility lies, and which is to clean up. I need to repent for being so selfish. I need to go in and say, this was my responsibility. I did not protect you. I allowed this to come into our home. I can see clearly that you've been in fear for many years. You've had nightmares. You've had thoughts. And
those are just of their own mother. Ruby, I'm lost with your little Walking Dead rants at the moment. It just seems like you're very focused on this and you're not really focused on the actual issues at hand, what actually happened. There is actual video proof out there about what you did to your kids. You know, it's not a secret.
I was not there to protect you, and I should have been. And so now I go in and do that cleanup. And that's what we're inviting you to do. That was my motivating drive. It is my motivating drive for creating this content. I was a hugely disconnected, selfish, aggressive, neglectful mother.
Okay, yes, absolutely, Ruby has hit the nail on the head. Finally, she's come to her senses. It's only taken some weird cult leader to make her realize what a bad mother she's been. I feel like we need to hear this again. One more time, Ruby. Can you spew it from the gut?
Hugely disconnected, selfish, aggressive, neglectful mother.
Entitled.
I wanted my kids to...
Okay, did anybody spot Jody just chime in there with entitled? That was absolutely indicative of her role in this entire thing. Nobody can deny that Ruby was a horrible, neglectful, aggressive mother in a lot of things that she's done. We know this. But Jody has chimed in there with, you were also entitled. It's not Jody's place to point that out as a friend. It's just, she should not be saying that, you know. It strikes me that Jody is very much the one that's behind this entire movement of getting Ruby away from the 8 passengers thing, which has ended up being away from her entire family and destroyed her entire family. And going back to what I said earlier about it looking like Ruby is the apprentice and Jody is the grandmaster, this is the whole thing. It's like she has got in with the family and made it so that Ruby now only believes in this crap that's been spewed and fuck the rest of her family.
Be happy, which AKA translated into, I want my kids to get off my back because I want to do what I want to do. I want to be able to go to Target. I want to be able to shop. I want to be able to have a moment of silence where I can just think. It was all about me. And I made my kids responsible for that. And so I allowed them to have what they wanted.
When did you allow your kids to have what they wanted? When did this actually happen? You've done so much. You didn't even allow your kids to have a Christmas. When did this actually happen, Ruby?
She said, I did all of these things that were really destructive from a place of selfishness. And then she said, I'm repenting, and I've repented. I am open. I am curious. I can say anything I want to her, and she hears it.
I promise you, Jody, that is the result of 4 years of indoctrination. 4 years of constantly telling her that this is the way it is. This is what you're doing wrong. This is why it's happening. This is what's going to happen. This is how you should behave. That is indoctrination. And what I'm getting from you again, Jody, is you are coming across like her therapist. You're supposed to be equals here in a partnership in this whole cult thing, but you're coming across as her therapist, and I'm getting weird vibes from you.
And we're inviting you to stop doing your best and start living in truth. This isn't about good, better, best. It's about there's truth and there's distortion. That's it.
That's a very black or white situation. Nothing is black and white, black or white in this world. There are always room for opinions and judging situations as they arise. But in your world, there is only truth or distortion. Nothing in between. That's very worrying. Very, very worrying.
Somebody said in a post, like, exploring their sexuality at 12 is reasonable. It's like, what? Why in the world is a 12-year-old exploring their sexuality? They're supposed to be out playing with animals and little girls and going to school learning about, science and math.
What? Well, I think at the age of 12, they are going into that sort of area of their life where it is probably quite important that they know who they are and what their identity is and everything. That's quite important time in their life. If you don't know and if you're confused, it's good to have a little look at yourself and, what the hell's wrong with you, Jody? What?
My children were wounded. They were hurt. Their souls were killed. The stuff that I allowed into my home killed their spirits. And it has taken a whole... I have been full-time. You wonder where I've been on my vlogs? You wonder why I left YouTube? It's to save my kids. No amount of money. I'm telling you, I was making millions.
There you go, guys. You've heard it from the horse's mouth. She was making millions. Absolute millions out of her kids. And they say family vlogging doesn't pay.
And I left it because my kids were being hurt. With entitlement, they were being hurt. With people's advice, and they didn't have a mother up the front saying, I don't care what the world's opinion is. This is the truth, and this is where I stand.
Ruby, your kids were being hurt by comments, people's opinions, people saying that their mother is a crazy, crazy woman, and that is probably closer to the truth than you can ever come up with. What you're not saying is how you have hurt the kids, how you have exploited them, how you put them in that situation, and all the other things that you did. I've got a list. You want to see?
Eve is responsible for making her lunches in the morning, so the natural outcome is she's just going to need to be hungry. Hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and gives her a lunch.
My bedroom was taken away for 7 months and then you give it back like a couple weeks ago.
I don't sleep on a beanbag.
I've been sleeping on a beanbag since October.
My kids are not welcome to come live with me after they're 18. I am very straightforward about that.
we should have been in that crash.
Where he's going to spend the next 8 to 10 weeks living in the
Anasazi Desert.
Yeah, the desert mountains of Arizona.
What if I took my hand and I hit you like that? Would that be crossing the boundary? If someone gets in your boundary, you need to speak up and say, hey, you're in my boundary. You need to back off.
But what if someone welcomes you into their boundary like this?
Can you go get in the boundary with him if he asks you to? Okay, go get in the boundary.
Yeah.
Christmas morning, their 4 older siblings will be getting Christmas presents to open, and that they will have the gift of love from their dad and I.
And fortunately, I had a chance. I had them in my home long enough to do it, and I'm not going to lose them. They're seeing truth, they're accepting truth, they're loving truth.
Are they actually, though? Are they actually living in truth and loving truth? Because as far as I understand it, most of your family do not speak to you. All of your siblings don't want to know. Your husband is kind of left. Your eldest kids don't speak to you, and one has been very vocal about not agreeing with this whole truth distortion nonsense. So what, you're talking about the littlest ones, is it? The 2 smallest ones who don't have a say in it? They're the ones that are accepting and living in truth? Is that the ones that you're on about?
And so this is my passion, is to invite you to stand in truth and put your opinions to the side for a minute, because your kids are the target of distortion.
We need you. We love you. We know what power exists inside you, and we want you to be here. So please humble yourself. Become curious about what we're saying. If you start getting reactionary, stop yourself and say, stop. Jennifer, stop. Rachel, stop. What are they trying to say to me? What am I not hearing? Why am I want to fight them? That's your distortion. That's what comes up in me. Anytime I want to fight someone, I'm like, stop, Jody, stop. Why am I getting so reactionary here? Like, there's no threat here. There's no threat. What's going on? The threat that I say is not here. The real threat is inside me that says, attack them. Attack them. How dare they say that? They can't say that. They're wrong for saying that. Don't attack us. Don't attack yourself. Attack distortion. Distortion is this thing that's trying to drag you down and kill you and kill your children. We are here to help you see it. We're desperately desiring to help you see it. We're putting ourselves out into a worldwide audience because both of us are committed to God, and we're both committed to the principles that God stands for. And we'll take the arrows of distortion to help share with anyone, even if it's one person that can hear us. We're here. So please don't leave. Just humble yourself and get curious. Am I in distortion?
Please tell me nobody watched that whilst looking directly into her eyes. I feel like I was under some sort of trance then. Jesus Christ. What the hell? What the hell was going on there? She literally looked directly at you and told you all this stuff about what is going to happen, what you need to do, and what you need to make happen in the most sensitive tone of voice I've ever heard in my life. And I just feel like I might need to switch sides now, because I'm kind of one of them, I think. Okay, well, that's unbelievable. Please take your time, listen to the words that they had to say, because I feel like that we should all
do as much distortion as possible to overcome this trance we've been put into. Take care, everybody. Remember to give this video a thumbs up as well to let me know that you've enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want some more of these, because, you know, classic. Take care and goodbye.